starting to talk. No, nobody's talking. Is it? No, it's Savage something. Hi, Wayne from South Dakota. Hey, South Dakota. There. And then, howdy, and good evening, Trevor and everyone else. Yeah, we're kicking things on. People are starting to join in. Just messing around for a moment. Good afternoons, and hello everybody. Still waiting for everybody to kind of join in, and the views are coming in, and people start talking and joining us here. Just waiting for it. Kind of streams up and spools up. I believe we're in on time, aren't we, Trevor?
Yeah.
Yeah, just in time too. So. Sounds. Alright, this week I plugged it in, so we just thought we'd have some fun with it to open everything up, because we don't have any theme or starting music. So there we go. Clicking in. Do you know any? And then we're not doing requests. See, that's the problem. We'll talk about this. This is a whine Les Paul. It doesn't whine, it just sounds good. I picked up this guitar. It has a very kind of a little darker, different sound than my other Les Pauls, and I really liked it and couldn't walk out without it. But there was another guitar that I was very partial to, so I walked out with 2 Les Pauls that day. Maybe someday I'll tell that whole story in its entirety, because it was interesting. But yeah, this was a collector's. Some collector had picked this up. Show it here again. It's really nice. It's got kind of a burgundy wine kind of color to it and all. But collector had picked it up. Never really played it. The action's pretty good on it. But he never played it, bought it for an investment, and then sold it back in. And I remember, because I was playing, I think it's on the wall behind me, there's a tobacco burst. And I was playing that one, and then the guy came out with this one and said, we got this in from a collector. Maybe you want to kind of see how this one sounds and feels. And I really liked it. And I had these Les Pauls. You remember that, Trevor? You were there. I was surrounded by Les Pauls, picking them up and playing different ones, trying to decide which guitar I might want to buy. And this one just had be able to go through different guitars. This one just had a different sort of tone. And I just liked that. The fact that it was the guitar itself had a certain different tone. Which generally tone is this. It's your left hand. It has nothing to do, because like right now, there's a little reverb, but it's just playing dry through an amp. And usually the tone sound you get is from your hand. And with this guitar, I could tell it sounded different than the others, which sounded kind of similar. But another one of them had a really good rock and roll action sounding on it, and that's that tobacco burst. And this one I turned around and said, well, I don't know what to... And, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by. I'm still sitting there playing with these Les Pauls. And I had the 2 just sitting there, and then it was just decided I should just pack up both Les Pauls and go on my way. It's a heavy guitar, though. It's a very heavy guitar.
Yeah.
So it has some weight to it. No, I'll do it. I don't trust that. I don't believe that. You should pick it up and put it on the wall. Good afternoon from Florida. Hello from Maine. Nice. Good afternoon. Do you know any blind? Okay, we were doing that. And the devil made you say good day. Okay, so anyways, here we are back again for another live. Because we pop those lives in on Fridays. And everybody seems to be enjoying it. We're doing really good numbers on the lives. So I told Trevor might as well just do them, because everybody seems to be digging it. and getting into it. And so I thought, okay, that's cool. We'll continue this. One little piece of thing I want to address before we get very far and people ask any questions that I start trying to answer is, if you have comments on our site on a video and you think they're being deleted, they aren't, because we don't delete comments. We never delete comments. And it might be, well, I don't know, there might be something that's spam or some weird stuff. It has nothing to do with the channel. It's someone spamming something in, and we'll realize it and say, okay, it's a weird link thing, and we'll get rid of it. Addressing someone that's commented on the last video, which was Doc Thorne's Mine. And George E., not Georgie, but George E., claimed I was deleting comments. They're all there. George just has to remember to click the button on top that says you're seeing all comments, or newest comments. And he can hit the button and see all his comments. They're all there for all of us to see, depending on what button's pushed. But he has not grasped the idea of pushing the button. So he keeps claiming over and over, I'm deleting stuff. And he keeps posting on different stuff in different people's comments. I just didn't want to delete it. He wanted to put out these coordinates to the Lost Dutchman Mine he believes he found out. One's out by Apache Lake, and the other one's out in Mesquite Flat. One place we actually filmed pretty extensively and actually did a video on, in the very area where he says the mine is. We were out there for unrelated reasons, because there was a lot of the activity out there involves some petroglyphs we were looking for, and some indigenous groups had built a dam for water and for doing certain things. They were crushing mesquite beans and all. Everybody will remember that. Me and Frank, we were all out there. It was a video 3 or 4 years ago we did. Anyways, then the other side I'm familiar with, because we've pulled over. I've had a cigarette there and got out and stretched my legs. It's not very far past Apache Lake, by one of the corrals out there on the south side of the road. But still, it got to the bizarre point of where he continues to think we're deleting things, and we aren't. They're just there. He just hasn't figured out how to push the buttons and fix things himself. And you can lead a horse to water, but he has declared war. Right? He declared war? Declared war and said he'd see me on the trail. Bring a shovel, Trevor. We might have some digging to do. So there we go. So everybody's enjoying these live chats. Cool. Hey, Kanoa, Ontario, Canada. Wow, we got people from Dakota, Florida, Canada. We're getting to all live chats. And nice to get to know like-minded people. I tend to always say that when I go live, you're getting to know a soft-minded person, but that's fine. Live chat, live top chat. I actually caught this on time. Hey, Wayne. Hey, good deal. You got there on time. But we like to do these. Always to show you, always be on the lookout for stuff. Dropped by a bookstore, and it was very cool. And I found one of Chuck Kenworthy's books. This is Treasure Signs and Symbols, Shadows and Sun Signs by Chuck Kenworthy. And then that was $3. And I don't know if they even print those anymore. So I found one of those, and then one of Tom Collenborn's Ride Through Time books was sitting there, one of the soft covers, but it was there for $5. So for $8, I got 2 really good Dutch hunting books, which probably originally, I think Chuck's came out, they were $16, and who knows what Tom's was. It was probably $15-20. So it's kind of interesting sometimes when you just sit there and look at literally brand new copies. The spines I don't even think are even near broken on them. So it's like nobody really read them. So the gifts that keep giving. I generally, if I find something that cheap, pick them up, because what I'll do is we'll give them away, or someone will be in need of a copy of one of them or something. So I have multiple copies, and I always pick up a really clean, pristine copy cheap, because that way I can always make sure I can gift it or pass it along to someone interested and so forth. So there you go for that. So that was a cool deal. Another thing. So we have these, and these are cool. This is a Dutch Hunter Rendezvous baseball cap, believe it or not. And it's a prototype, so it's nothing out there. But I'm not big on, the logo seems a bit small and doesn't seem to pop enough for me. And then we have a Legend of the Superstition Mountain one. So we have each of these, and we're starting to explore those ideas because people have asked for these things for so long. So these are kind of prototypes. I wish the logos were more solid, stood out more and larger, but the hats are pretty good quality. So I'm generally, as a rule, kind of happy with it. We'll have to see where we go. Of course, all this stuff is expensive, and now I can't reach the other things. Oh, I'm going to reach over and reach over without tearing everything up. This is the Dutch Hunter Rendezvous coffee cup, which has both the shirt logos on it. It's in black with red lettering, so very nice. And that's probably what we'll stick with. I like it. It kind of has that good any year kind of rendezvous thing. You don't have to go out every year and buy a new rendezvous cup. And of course, there's the Legend, the Superstition Mountains cup, which is in black with white lettering, and has your dig your own direction, kind of the Chasing Legends, Legend Superstition Mountain things with the medicine wheel and the compass thing and all designed, put together by Eric DeLille. So those out there, again, it's not going to be something we're going to profit off of. We always generally try to come up with these ideas and introduce these things as thank yous to people. They say, hey, can we get this? Can we do that? Nice for the rendezvous so people can have something they can take away or have coffee and have something memorable from the rendezvous. But generally, we're not looking to get rich off this stuff. So the idea was to get some made, bring them in and start to look at them. We looked at various different things, and these were the first ones I got. So you can put in comments and so forth during the fact, after the fact, and all what you think of these. And there we go. So Louisiana, Washington State. I'm in Arizona. Any further info on the Jesuit cross in the Bat Cave? It's not there anymore, and somebody else has it. I don't know who it is. East Texas. There you go. And is Texas so big that you have to have an East and West Texas? Do you have a Central Texas? How about a cap with a black hand? We could do that. I actually have a painting of a black hand. So there you go. We can sell the painting of the black hand. We'll sign it. Blackwater, Arizona, Kim. You're a funny guy. What's the difference between the Chasing Legends and the Legends vids? Chasing Legends is right now videos that we do on every Monday. It's the one that says Chasing Legends, and we do Chasing Legends. And it's me sitting here and talking. When it's Legend of the Superstition Mountains, it's me and Frank out, not necessarily directly addressing you. It's filming, and then we might have some inserts where we talk about what's happening. So you'll look at the Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. That's Legend of the Superstition Mountains, which I don't know what season we're on now.
The next one's going to be 5.
So the Season 5 ones are the ones we've been working on for the last year or two, the whole COVID thing. So you should know this, Kim. So this is Chasing Legends. Friday is the live stuff that used to be Chasing Legends, but now we just call them Special Edition live stuff from Legend of the Superstition Mountains, which is the name of the channel. And then Legend of the Superstition Mountains used to come out Fridays, but we do like 12 of those. We'll put them out. And that's how we originally started all this. I did a bunch of random videos, did 12 legends, and then we started doing Chasing Legends kind of the weeks in between because we used to do them bi-weekly. And the lives were meant to just kind of in between answer questions and stuff about the videos. And that's how we started all that. And then here I am, God, 5-6 years later, still doing this. Cool on the black hand painting. Central Texas here. San Antonio. The guitar moved on its own. Wait before you said you knew who had the cross. No, Tom said he knew who had the cross. It was a Mexican was not San Luis, not San Manuel. It was somewhere down south of San Manuel. And he said Mexican down and said had that. That's all I remember. I said it somewhere. I might have said it in the video. So, but that's all I got from it. I didn't get a name. Was the black hand a real thing or just a little bit of drama? It was physically real. I don't know. I only got to really see the one, and I didn't think much of it, and I thought it was kind of BS, and that's why we just left, because I was pissed off. I tend to do that. You can't really do much on camera. I don't act, but I will react, and when something seems stupid, I was just like, okay, we're going to leave here, and we're done with this. I didn't want to dress something like that, because you can't sit there, and it just kind of seemed silly. The other one, which I thought people have told me there was 2 Delisle found. I thought it was only one, so that shows you what I know. And I was there. But I was on the other side of the ridge. I was like across a canyon. So I never saw those. It's kind of like the cross in the Batcave. I never physically saw that because I was down below talking on a walkie-talkie. So I only got to see what you guys saw. Well, I saw more than you guys saw, but I only really got to see the film footage and stuff. I'm currently reading the Simsili book. Cool. The first chapter states that the pathology, 2 bullet holes in a... No, there was nothing in Adolf Ruth's bullet hole. It was broken. The pathologist was someone that Dr. Herdlicka hired to do it. The actual medical examiner that examined Ruth and his remains said he died of natural causes. That both wounds were going internally in the skull. A lot of people thought it was a shot into the head and then out. The medical examiner found neither one of them and did not believe there was in any way a homicide. One of the problems with that there's people out there that will stick to it is then they act like there was a murder investigation and they were searching for who the guys were that killed him and all this. Well, that can't happen because the medical examiner is the reason you do a homicide investigation. So the very fact that once they found his remains, there was never any investigation after that. It was done, and that's why there's no records. Someone once claimed that there were records, and then they threw them out, and all this other stuff. If there's an unsolved homicide, they never throw the records out. So they BS their way one into the other, and then I just went and looked back and all that information. I don't know how much of the medical examiner records would be left or what kind of record there is left on it, but the county would have it. I believe Maricopa County ended up with the remains, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a relative of someone, and they even actually talked to him and questioned him about that. So it kind of puts that kind of, and I did a good talk on it, a lecture at the museum on it. They probably were not very popular with it because I kind of did the debunking of the whole drama with a lot of the Adolf Ruth stuff, because I thought there's just very little, if no evidence. You had an elderly man who was 5'3", who was in poor health, that had one shoe that was built up larger than the other and had to walk with the assistance of a cane, couldn't get around, got lost at night on the ranch trying to go to the bathroom, and he shouldn't have been out there alone, and everybody was worried about him, and then someone took him off and took him up on top of a mountain and shot him. It seems very doubtful. He might have just had a heart attack if someone confronted him somewhere in his camp. So it just, everything about it just doesn't line up. But there's a tendency not to be using common sense when looking at these. It's great for storytelling. The death of Adolf Ruth and that whole thing, which I did that for History Channel, is great history to lead into it for drama. But the reality of a lot of these specifics and stuff doesn't really hold a lot of water. Checking in from Fremont, Nebraska. Love the videos. What is the make on the red base? It's a Fender. It's a Fender Precision base. Sorry, kind of random, but the Fender base. And let me get to the next question. I'll address that. Have your Superstition expeditions focused on the legend of 24 buried U.S. Cavalry Dragoon pistols? Your thoughts? No, it hasn't. That's my thoughts. The Dragoon pistol thing, yeah, like the cachet of whiskey and some other stories people have. No, I'd like to know where there's a pistol called a gasser. If anybody knows anyone that has a gasser, I have a friend that had one stolen out of his safe, and it belonged to someone very important, and it'd be nice to get that. That's an old German pistol. Anyways, the red bass, it's red precision Fender. The reason I got that bass is I needed a bass for studio work. I had a very, very good friend I played with, and his name was Chuck Ritchie, and Chuck was a big guy. We hung out, and I think even on Facebook there's a picture of him with me and Tony Chadwick. Anyways, me and Chuck knew each other for many, many years, and Chuck played, for most of the time I knew him, he had a red precision Fender bass. So when I wanted and needed a bass, I wanted a bass that was very similar to Chuck's, because I always liked his bass. I liked his bass playing. I liked Chuck. He was my friend. So I got it kind of a nod at Chuck. I always liked it. It seemed to be pretty much a bass that could do anything, play anything. And I'm not a bass player, so it didn't matter to me. And then Chuck passed away, and so it kind of has that sentimental thing. But yes, that's the only bass I own. It's probably the only bass I'll ever will own. But I purchased it. Everything about that bass, the color, everything about it was simply because of my buddy Chuck. So I'm a little bit of a softie sometimes on something like that. But I think that's the only guitar or anything like that I ever did that with. It was purely based on a old friend. So, and I miss him. Yeah, it was, and I found out it was just before I turned 50, because kind of I was like, hey, it'd be cool to get a bunch of the old guys together and go do something and have a restaurant and have, food and get together and stuff and like jam together, just kind of a throwback night and stuff. And I think just before that, or just right around that time, I found out he had passed away. So it kind of was a bummer, because it was kind of that moment of like, oh, that ain't gonna happen now. So there you go. And then another one pops up. Segovia is a flamingo finger-picking guitar style. Segovia? Segovia was a guitar player. Andre Segovia. So, I don't know if it's a finger-picking style. I guess you could play style Segovia. I was, if you watch the videos, one of the students of Segovia, Miguel Bernal, was my instructor, my teacher for a while. He had a lot of problems with me, because it was like, I like to play blues, and I would have a pick. And when you're learning classical style guitar and all, I'd play, and then he'd come in the room and I'd have a pick. He'd be playing blues on a very nice classical guitar, which kind of froze him. But I have a lot of notes that he gave me and a lot of things I remember, because it did transpire to electric guitar. And he always told me, a big thing he always told me is balance your voices, balance everything. Balance in life is important. So that was very important to me in playing guitar, is learning my tone was more important than finger speed or anything else. So always looking and finding, what you can say with that single note, and the spacing, and space is so important. So it was a great lesson. I'll forever indebted, because it changed my view of guitar over time. It didn't instantly change everything. I still tried to play as fast as shit all the time. But I started to learn it and understand what he meant with that. And but Andre Segovia and Miguel Bernal. Yeah, we did the video. I talked about that, didn't we? Yeah, I addressed the guitar and talked about Miguel. Because he put the guitar together for me. It's on a wall back here behind me, but maybe not in view. It's kind of off to the side. But anyways, I couldn't afford the guitars he had for sale, because they get very expensive. And I had a guitar that the bridge had busted on. He said, I will repair this so that there'll never be a problem. He says, I can't sell it with the repair work, but I will repair it, and I will sell it to you. It was like 40-50% off, which was amazing. And he was taking a huge loss, but he repaired it and glued down that bridge. And it's not perfect. It's not always pretty. Guitar's got beat up quite a bit, but it's held up to this day and still sounds amazing. So that was very cool about it. You're okay in my book. Well, thank you. I'm glad. Well, George E. doesn't. He's declared war on me. Trevor didn't even laugh at that. He's worried. You're worried about the war. No? Not worried about the war? Okay, so that being said and done, and we're kind of going through here. And of course, we did the Doc Thorne thing, which was great. Thank you for that. And Trevor was sharing some of the analytics and some of the stuff with me this week. I'm not going to bore anybody with that stuff. It was very cool stuff, though, to see how much, as far as impressions. It's like, guess how many impressions we had in the last 28 days? 203,000. So that means YouTube's getting things out there. The biggest surprise to me was we do post a lot of this stuff to share it on Facebook to get our Facebook followers, because there's about 20,000 over a couple sites. And surprisingly enough, very little of our traffic comes from Facebook. So all these people that like Facebook don't seem to follow us over here to YouTube. So I don't understand that, but that's what it is. By the way, all the people, and there's a lot of people that are doing... they go over, and there's 3 sites. One is called Legend of the Superstition Mountains, and it'll have like the History Channel emblem on it and stuff. And if you look in it, that's our channel. That was the channel that was started originally for the show. It's kind of the official channel, and it was the one A&E History Channel, the production company started, and then they ended up making me an administrator, and then they just deserted me and left me there with a channel, because I guess they didn't care about it anymore. And that's what happens to old channels. They just kind of drift off. But I had it, so I kept working with it, and we use it today. There's another one called The Legend of the Superstition Mountains, and it's like a private group, I believe. That was a fan page, and the fan asked me, and I think Dalil, but to kind of look on it occasionally. And then there's another one called Legends of the Superstition Mountain. So they're all very closely related, but we kind of look after those two and make sure we approve things for them and stuff and share things to them because we understand how confusing they got. There was at one time 7 or 8 fan pages, and I get just, with the content and stuff. And we try to answer and kind of jump into those. But if you're looking to contact us, it's Legend of the Superstition Mountains, and you'll pretty much kind of catch what it is. But it is tricky because everything is roughly kind of the same. So there you are. Wayne, what's up with the gold now? Go gold prospecting in San Antonio, Texas. What's up with the gold now? I don't know. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people sell it, some people don't. I don't think you should be selling gold with the recession and stuff. If you're doing okay and you have gold, or there's a place gold, get the gold, and then just hoard the gold right now, because you never know. Gold's just something that is just going to just continue to increase in value. I know a lot of gold is getting shipped overseas. I think who was it telling me? Someone was telling me a lot of the gold's getting shipped to China and over into the Middle East. They buy a lot of the gold up. So gold's just great, anything like that, gold, silver, any precious metals, that type of stuff is good to hang on to. So generally, as a rule, I wouldn't sell the gold if you got money and use the gold. That is awesome, and sorry to hear about Chuck. Thank you. Well, that was a long time ago. Called him Chuckles, but yeah, that boy could drink beer. But yeah, are you still prospecting? Yes, I am. We aren't now. It's 115 degrees out, and my air conditioner's broke in my truck. So hell no. Thinking about places to go, and we've talked about it. Me and Frank. In fact, I just talked yesterday to Frank, and we were talking about we're waiting once my truck's fixed to start scouting some areas and look into some spots. We could go up north, but I don't even want to drive out of the desert, and just going to work is enough right now. So we will be prospecting. I got a couple invites to go out a couple places, and I figured we'd film kind of those too, kind of show people a few different spots we could go to, just for kind of fun and see what kind of gold's there and stuff. I haven't taken anybody up on that stuff, and that's been primarily because just the heat and not having AC in the truck, and it just kind of sucks right now. So just dying in the truck, driving around all the time. But yeah, that's that. I had a friend who had a 1 kilo gold bar he bought for an investment. That's a good idea. I mean, you're not going to certainly lose. It's from space, and it's been here. And each time someone removes gold, there's just that much less to be found. So technically, because unless you're an alchemist and can figure out how to make it, there's less and less of it to be found. So everything that you have, yeah, it's just going to increase in value as time goes by, and we continue to utilize it. So anything that's gold based that's utilized in electronics or anything else means there's that less free gold for ownership and so forth. Because I don't think we count. I mean, there's gold in cell phones, there's gold in everything, all electronics. Very minute, but it's there. So there is that. But yeah, the prospecting thing, there's places we're want to go and things we want to do and things we want to wrap up on other things, and then just that problem becomes just the heat right now. So it's not fun. It's just melting heat, and it's just, we just feel like little bars of butter melting all the time. Today wasn't near as nasty. It was a little cooler this morning because yesterday we got kind of a storm blew in, and it got dusty. And then it rained a little, but that just added humidity. But it did keep the temp down a little. So this morning was, I don't know what the humidity is. I forgot to look, but it was 90 degrees this morning when I went into work. And I was sitting at work, sitting out front. It was about 6 a.m. And I was thinking, man, it's 90 degrees. It's really super sweet out this morning. I bet you most of you are thinking, what? But that was exactly what it is. Right now, see, and it's not going to be that bad. Well, it's 111, so it's not terrible. And it's supposed to get down to 85 tonight. So for all of you who think you know what hot is, no. Okay. But 111 is pretty hot. When the humidity's up, which that's the bigger problem, is because it just keeps getting more and more oppressive. But then someone told me, well, back east, when it's this percentage of humidity and 90 degrees. Yeah, but here's your problem. I mean, people go into jacuzzis and spas and stuff and sweat and do things to cleanse their pores. But no one ever just crawls into a freaking oven in the kitchen, a dry heat oven, to do anything healthy for them. So that's what Arizona is crawling into your oven in the kitchen. And unfortunately, that's where we're at for the most part. So it just saps you. It makes you tired. It wears you out. It makes your hair sweat. But see, the thing, I don't think you guys get as much in a lot of areas that have a lot of moisture as out here. Is we sweat and then we're just done with sweat and then it dries up and then we end up with the crunchy hair. So all the sweat and everything, and then we end up with hair that you go crunch. Yeah, it's always bad. All right. Was the Lost Dutchman mine across from a cave with a stone house like the profile map? Could be. I don't always put a lot of all my stock into that because each person that tells it seems to talk. The profile map, Randy Wright did a great little write-up on it. Maybe someday I'll find it and read through it. I have to copy that off. I have to remember that. And then read through it and all. He did a really nice job about the history and chronology of the profile map, which came long before it became known. And it was kind of disappointing because that was my main go-to map. That was my map. I was one of those profile map guys, always looking for that and finding I found at least a dozen places that fit it. But I was really into the profile map. And then I became very disappointed after Randy did his thing. Sorry about that. But because it kind of made me question a lot of things concerning it. House in a cave, because walls, it talks about he had a couple walls. So it wasn't even a house in a cave. He had a cave and there was a couple walls. It was a 2-room cave. There's just so many variations on that stuff. It makes you wonder. I would love to get the list or notes, not the Bark notes in the manuscript, but some of the writings of Jim Bark, not letters, but writings that he personally made about those conversations and early notes that he kept to himself, because that would tell us what kind of was real and what was not, and that would be the coolest thing for me to find. So I don't know if it was. It could have been, but that's one of the clues. But it's there and it's not there in different things. The LDM is not on the profile map. There you go. Okay, Bowman was up. So, and I kind of was addressing it. You don't have to tell people. Love the dry heat of Gallup, New Mexico. Cured my sinus infection. It'll cure a lot of things. It'll cure your sinus infection. It'll cure your ability to sweat. The dry heat, the one that's nicest part about the dry heat is the mild, nice winters. It does get cold here, but for the most part, it's very tolerable. When the sun comes out every day, it warms up and it's pleasant. The mornings could be out where I'm at during the dead of winter. It could be 25 to 35 degrees, but by 10 or 11 o'clock, it's going to be up around 60. So the weather change during the winter out here once the sun's up is so different. That's the coolest part. So we get that. Okay, we did the profile map thing. And not that I would mind watching every freaking episode again. Would you give some hints on hidden Easter eggs in your episodes? No, Kim, because you're not smart enough to find them. My God, you've been around us enough. You should be able to be kind of in there, man. And I know you're laughing there right now, but hey, cornbread, you've had your chance, man. You've got insider information being around me and Frank, and you still haven't figured it out. There you go. And you're chuckling away, but I'm sitting here thinking, you think Kim would have figured some of it out? Nope. Okay. So there you go. Just kind of sit there and stew in it. How's the dog? Huh? How's the dog doing? All right. So the house in the cave has 2 rooms. The first room has 2 walls, and the second room has 3 walls. Okay. Good. And that almost sounds like it'd be a song. The house in the cave has 2 rooms. The first room has 2 walls. The second room has 3 walls. You could make a song out of that. How are the mosquitoes down there? It's bad here in Canada for bugs. We get those gnats and stuff sometimes, but mosquitoes, once we get, in the next month we'll get some moisture, And then the moisture tends, because of the clay and stuff, if we get a lot of moisture and a lot of rain, it sits a long time. It doesn't necessarily drain off sometimes in town, and we'll get a lot of problems with mosquitoes. The other thing is we have a lot of pools and a lot of people that don't take care of their pools. Tucker says howdy. Well, how you doing, Tucker? Tucker needs to keep you in line, Kim. So, but how are the mosquitoes down there? Yeah, it hasn't been bad this year, but I'm one of those people, I don't know if it's my blood type or what it is. I'm never bothered by mosquitoes very much. So I do get bug bites. I'm not immune to it. But there's people I know, yeah, they go out and then they got 22 mosquito bites, and I'll be like, what mosquitoes? So I tend to not really know. I don't know if it's skin types, blood types, what it is. It's one of those things. But I've never had too much problem. But when I do get bit by a mosquito, it itches like a mother. I will tell you that. And it bothers. I know why people complain about them. So I haven't noticed much of a problem. I have to judge it by what other people are telling me to some degree. But we do get the gnats in the mountains, and the gnats get so thick they're in your eyes and your ears and everything. And that happens when it gets humid in this kind of weather. Definitely during the winters a lot. But during the summers, they can get pretty thick, and they're just like, they're in everything, up your nostrils and stuff, and you're just like everywhere. And they kind of bite. They don't leave like bug bites, but they're really annoying. I hate those. I don't know what they're called. They're basically some kind of gnats. In from the Treasure Coast. There you go. You a pirate? Louisiana, the size of chihuahuas. They must have very large wings. The joke in Maine this time of year, the mosquitoes are our state bird. Sounds like a lot of people have mosquito problems. My father-in-law owns a cabin in Snowflake. Is there any place up there to prospect? Right on the mountain to Goldfield? Well, don't come down here if you're there right now. I'll stay up there because it's a lot cooler. How's Woody's doing? Good. Woody's doing fine. He's been playing cards and shooting pool and drinking beer. So he's he's training right now. So he's doing very well is what I'm hearing. I haven't talked to him recently, but that's because his hearing, if I get him on the phone, he just goes, what? And he just yells on the phone. So I talk to him when I can, but generally I have people that watch over and watch out for Woody, and they let me know that he's doing very, very well. So there's that. But areas up in Snowflake, I don't know if Snowflake geologically is much of an area for gold, and Show Low and those areas. The only gold you really found in Show Low was the gold that I've dropped and lost. I dropped a glass vial, and it went skidding off, and then we had a metal detector find it. My bad. Lynx Creek might not be bad over in that area, but yeah, I would stay out of Goldfield in that area for right now. It's way too hot. Seen a lot of live chat, and they can't keep up. You seem to be keeping up pretty good. You're gonna miss. Is that Dr. Tuttle? Is that what it says? Huh? I'm a doctor.
Live Dr. Tuttle.
Live Dr. Tuttle. The monster's alive. I'm not sure I spelled your name last correctly. Sorry, just decent together. Yeah. Like it's alive. It's alive. The month of the legendary. Okay. Playing cards. There we go. Playing cards. Shooting pool and drinking beer. Woody has life mastered. Yes, he does. Yeah, I'm kind of envious of that. Because I said, where was Woody? And they said, well, he's playing cards, and then he goes down and drinks beer and shoots pool. Then he comes home and he drinks some more beer and he plays more cards. And I was like, okay. Well, and he likes playing cribbage. So he brings a cribbage board out with him all the time. I don't play cribbage, so I don't care. But he does do that. And I know he's always looking for a cribbage partner or cribbage opponent or whatever it is. The monster is alive. I'm not sure what that was meant by that. Yeah, okay, the monster. Are you the monster? Are you my Frankenstein?
Me?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what he was talking about. I just read this stuff and then try to pick up on it and stuff. But thank you definitely on Herbert on the whole deal with and seem to be enjoying our lives and stuff and what I do and keeping up and all. I always feel that when you're doing this sort of thing, you need to keep some kind of subject matter, some topic in your head, not go blank, not a lot of ums, even though we all will do ums and stuff. But the other problem I think with a lot of people is they're very uncomfortable. And I unfortunately got the experience with television doing this stuff, having a son who has a film degree and another son that's getting a film degree. I get placed in this position a lot. And I think when I did the first lives, I probably was really not too sure what to do. But I was able to ease into it and go like, it's like playing guitar, doing other stuff. You just kind of sit down, do your thing. So I think it's just that ease. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people, as soon as the moment they realize people's eyes are upon them or there's so many people in the room, which is very odd because I can do this. I can do a lecture in front of 800 people. I can do that type of thing, film for television and stuff, but I really hate crowds. So I prefer sitting around with just one or two people or maybe three at tops and hanging out. I do not like anything more than that. That is like, so you will actually notice if you see me around that I'll drift in and out and disappear because I do not like hanging around like that. But if I have to get up and speak and stuff, I'm usually pretty much at ease. So it is kind of one of those things. God, okay, let's go here. Cribbage is a tradition on our Navy submarine cruise. There you go. My parents loved cribbage, playing cards, shooting pool, okay, down. Mr. Lawton. Bark knew more than he was saying to most. Fun he came up with 50 yards of, never knew it. Cool. Apparently Native American don't pay tax, but like such do not seem to be nationally broadcast. Makes you wonder else the government knows and offers to such people. My dad took me down one day. We had a place down by Maricopa. And he took me out one day, and because you always heard the bullshit about, well, every Indian gets a free pickup truck and a government check. And this is before the casinos. And he said, okay. And he said, let's go down and, he knew a couple people, but he said, let's go down and see how people live. Biggest shitholes and broken cars and people freaking, waiting forever and worst medical ever. He showed me what true poverty and everything is like. And if you think someone in that way is getting some sort of benefit or doing so much better than you are in life, then you don't know reality. What people hide for you is how they've treated indigenous people in places. Some of the worst, poorest reservations in the Dakotas and places like that. They're absolute shitholes, and I will say that. And it's a shame what's happened to people because there's such a separate government in the way everything's set up in business and everything. You literally can't leave. It's like being that person from that small town that can't get the education or get the needs or necessary means or ability to get out of there. When you do, you end up in somewhere like Los Angeles and homeless, living on the freeway because you can't attack the greater problem because everybody has better education and better tools and better idea how to go into that. So, no, I don't know. I don't buy that part there. So, playing pool and drinking beer and watching strippers. Well, I don't know about the strippers. I don't know if there's strippers in Dewey. Could be. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a strip club in Dewey. Surely it's not just equally. My wife and I attended one of your Superstition Mountain Life. Very good. If anything planned for future lectures. I know they have Jesse coming down this year. I was kind of waiting because I told them, I said, if you need anyone or if there's any laps or any openings, I know they always have Teton Can. So, and Jesse's going to be talking, and my big push was to get more of us to do Dutch hunting, and if they would let me know, which they start in January, so they still have time, but for me to put something together, because I don't want to be repetitive and do the facts and fiction of Jacob Waltz or Adolf Ruth again. I'd like to do another entire program, and not just even rotate them, but always try to keep something fresh. So my big push was to get more Dutch hunters involved, and at least they got Jesse. Ken's not necessarily like the core Dutch hunter like the rest of us, but at least they have Jesse. We'll see what goes. I'm interested in checking out what Jesse has to say, but I'm going to catch Jesse at the Rendezvous because he's going to be there before he makes it to the museum lecture, which it'll actually be harder for him at the Rendezvous because I have to admit, it's your peers more so than an audience. So you know everybody personally, and you're dealing with people that know the subject matter very well. That's the toughest crowd to talk to. So, okay, So hopefully if they give me an invite, I'll be there. If it's one or two lectures, I'll be there to help them out. Thank you for your insight, sir. Just makes you wonder. That's all. Well said. I don't know about what, but that's fine. Everybody's really hung up on the drinking beer, shooting pool, and playing cards with strippers. There we go. Any recommendation on how to get started in prospecting metal detecting in Arizona? Okay, well, it depends where you live. There's plenty of people and places to get initially. I would say buy yourself a book on prospecting, a real basic book, or watch some videos. Watch the videos we got. We have videos of Woody prospecting and talking about prospecting. I think it's in the first or second season of our videos. And we sit there with him where he's processing and going through checking our samples. Really good to know. He does classes. I don't know if that's for everybody. And he's up in Dewey. It's cooler there right now. You can go to any prospecting store. They'll hook you up. All you need is a pan. I like the blue pans, not the green pans. But get a blue pan, a nice sized blue pan, and you can get, if you're into metal detecting, get a basic metal detector. Probably your earbuds will work, and a pinpoint. But getting into a lot of that stuff, you can start out really basic and just kind of starting to learn the ropes, and then come someplace like the Rendezvous. Woody tries to teach people, work with people on prospecting, and Frank will work with people and talk to people about metal detecting. And there's a number of other metal detecting people that show up there. And then once you get in with one or two of them, they will introduce you to the rest of the people of the rest of the field, which is very cool, because I got to know a lot of people in the metal detecting community just because of my friendship with Frank and Woody, which I wouldn't have really ever, I kind of see that as, but and so now I get to say, I've met a lot of good people, a lot of, different people. I'm not going to name drop because you don't have to do that. But, like the guy from Oak Island. But, no, it's really cool. They all give you advice if you ask for it. And they'll talk to tell you how to start out. They all have their favorites, whether it's Fisher, it's Mine Lab, or Garrett, and they have the different ones. But they all have different detectors for different things and what they're shooting for. And prospecting is very similar. You got to learn the signs and stuff and different things, different people. A lot of people like to go to go-to places. It depends whether you want to do it recreationally for fun and pick up a little gold, or if you want to do this, it's like really trying to pull out some gold. Either or. I know some people it's a thrill to see dust and stuff. To me, I'm not a patient person to do the Woody process of every little speck of gold and stuff. I can say, oh, wow, there's some very fine stuff in here. It's really cool. Well, I know there's some fine gold in here, and just toss it out. If I get a nugget that I can shake in a vial, then I'll keep those things. But unlike Woody, who's very meticulous about it, I'm not really big on catching every scrap of gold, because I realize how long that would take, and I'm not that much. Prospecting is different than panning. You can pan to look and see if there's signs of gold, but a prospector is looking for gold, in my opinion. And then there's people that love to pan and look for gold and stuff, and it's a good family thing too. If you have a family, that's a cool thing with your kids. Everybody have pans and teach them how to do it, and everybody kind of get their own thing. So there we go. God, I don't know how. Oh, we didn't get that far. Can you discuss the 24 lost Army pistols? I don't know. Everybody's hung up on the 24 lost Army pistols. No, I can't. I don't want to. So, my cousin Rick Gwynn. Rick was awesome. Loved talking about finding gold and the superstitions. Luckily, we got to see him years ago and walk in them. Rick was awesome. He was my bodie. Well, I miss Rick a lot, man. You miss Rick too, don't you? You miss Rick a lot. And I was around Rick a lot before he passed away. He looked really good. I talked to him on the phone. He got better. He came out to a film premiere for Lust for Gold, and we spent time together. And then he kind of went downhill again, and we talked on the phone right after he had a couple of those heart attacks, and it was up and down. I'd be like, Rick, he sounded like he's dying, and I'm like, why are you on the phone with me? But I really, really thought the world of Rick. I really liked Rick. And he was one of the few Dutch hunters, shoes. And there's other people I probably talked in the last 2-3 years to Rick more than anybody. He would call and he'd forget about stuff and be like, hey, bud, do you remember this? Do you remember what we were talking about? And we would just go on for an hour or so conversation. I would have 2 or 3 of those. And so I really enjoyed talking with Rick. It wasn't always about the mountains of the superstitions. It's like, I just like talking to Rick. He just had that way. Happy trails, brother. I'll talk to you later, So I do miss that. I've saved all my messages from him because I still want to go back. I have them from some of the guys that have passed away because I like to listen to that and hear Rick's voice once in a while. That's that other soft side of me. Thanks, Wayne. Oh yeah, Gary. Wayne. Oh yeah, Gary. Okay, huh? Leonor. I don't know if it's Valenzuela, so I got that part. But yeah, it's Gary Drayton. Okay, I get it now. But no, if you can hook up with anybody in the communities and just and talk to multiple people and see what people use, and you just literally have to do it yourself. Practice with some pyrite. Get some pyrite and put it in a pan, or even BBs and stuff, and just kind of practice yourself. You'll find your groove, and watch the videos. You'll kind of see the basic way to start moving there. What is something that you witnessed that you wish everyone could have seen, as it's so unbelievable? I watched Frank light a cigar once and smoke it. That was pretty unbelievable. I watched Frank drop his pants and walk around without his pants on. Trevor wasn't there for that. I was there. Got photos of it. I don't know. It's something I seen that nobody was around and I thought was totally unbelievable. And I'd have to be by myself. I don't know. There was a lot of sunsets, a lot of sunrises, things like that up in the mountains where you don't take a picture because you realize the picture's not going to say it, and you're just like, huh, and you enjoy it by yourself. But I don't know if I've ever been that person, nostalgic or kind of like that. I always just am pretty happy that I get to witness something and whatnot, and that's just kind of one side of it. But as far as a lot of other things, I don't know. I usually just feel privileged if I see something very, very cool or something super awesome. But I don't think there's anything that I've been like, man, nobody's going to believe me about this. No, and if I thought it was too unbelievable, then I wouldn't tell anybody. Because Trevor will tell you, I'll literally, no matter how stupid it sounds, if something happens, I'll tell you. Remember the crow? I'm walking around, and this crow just suddenly starts talking to me. And Trevor walks over and goes, what are you doing? I said, the crow's talking. Crow wouldn't talk in English when anybody was standing there. He'd only talk to me in English when everybody walked away. But the crow and I had a conversation. I think Trevor might have overheard some of it, but another guy walks up. He says, that crow's talking. And I said, exactly. But I don't have a problem. I don't have a vent, or I don't have a filter for that sort of thing. So it's because the other Superstition YouTube channel did a video on the Dragoon pistols. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they do stuff on stuff. I try not to watch their stuff. I like Charlie Lesueur. I will address this. I'm good friends with Jack Sanfelice. I like Larry Hendrick. I don't know Hank Sheffer, really. And the camera guy that runs all that stuff, because it's not them that do it, it's another guy, Dave. Hey, Dave. But I don't know if he watches our stuff. And but I got along with Charlie. I told Charlie once, and I think I've mentioned it on here, hey, why don't you come film us, and we'll film, and we'll do our things, and you can do a thing, and we can kind of be on top of each other doing this sort of thing. Something different, and you guys could use it, because that was when they were first starting out. And I don't know what Charlie's vision was or everything, but we talked, and we talked about some different stuff. He wasn't really a Dutch hunter. I don't think anyone ever really knew much about him and the superstitions or anything like that before he really got into that whole thing of doing the videos. Larry Hedrick been around a long time, founder of the museum and Tom's friend, and Jack's been around since probably the early mid-90s, and I know them. And Hank, like I said, I don't know Hank much. I know he's edited some books from some other people, wrote a couple books and stuff. Hank and I have talked here and there, but it's not not like we're buddies. But I'm not going to say anything bad about those guys. But yeah, they do their videos, and I think people sometimes get us confused. I don't know if it was ever meant as a dig at us, Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains. But I don't know. If you're in competition, with the wrong person, because I don't really care. I kind of laugh. There we go. What would you suggest a beginner to look for interesting rocks in the superstitions? Really cool stuff. I always find cool stuff in the superstitions. I like stuff that just jumps out at me as unusual. I got a Z rock. I got a V rock that has like the mineralization running and looks like letters and stuff. I'm not trying to spell anything. I always just look for stuff that's cool, and then stuff that's definitely got a lot of iron content, might have a little gold and stuff. But I just look for rocks that kind of jump out at me and go, hey, take me home. Put me in your yard. Put me on your shelf. And so I look at different things. I got stuff that has silver in it, stuff that has gold in it. And I always just look for what's interesting. And there's a plenty of leave it right that I have, because they're pieces of schist and stuff that I just think look totally cool. And so I bring them home. So I got a big chunk of quartz that probably has absolutely zero gold within it, but it's a big milky piece of white quartz. Heavy as hell, And my dad brought it home, stuck it in the yard, and I brought it home and stuck it in my yard now. So it's nothing more than just a big rock. But it's cool. Have you ever found a meteorite? Yes, did find a meteorite, big chunks of meteorite. So, and there's different styles of meteorite, which I found out that some are very valuable and their iron content, and some aren't as valuable and are not as magnetic. But I did find one, and I got that big chunk. And Trevor's picked it up, haven't you? You helped me move that meteorite, didn't you? Big chunk, yeah, that big heavy one.
When into the
Yeah.
backyard?
Yeah.
I helped with that.
That thing's
originally.
heavy, isn't it?
Though.
It's not big, but it's heavy, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's just like you can tell, like you're picking up a chunk of metal. It's incredible. But Randy Wright and I found that out. Big crater. We found all this stuff, and it was pretty cool. So don't know how long it'd been out there. We just found this big rusty rock, and we're like, oh, wonder what this is. He took the smaller pieces. I found a piece that had pancaked out, and it was very cool. And then I went and checked it for to see if it was magnetic, and definitely the iron content and stuff. It was magnetic and all, but yeah, I've never intended on selling it. I just thought it was cool, and it sat in my garage at the front of my garage for years, and I thought it was just cool because how many people get to say, yeah, there's a big chunk of meteorite just sitting there. Shoes likes meteorites too. He likes stuff from space. Gary J, you rock, brother. Have you ever found a meteorite? I did that. Plan to bring white corn pollen for the sunrise of the mountain. Very cool. I would love to go hiking with you when I cools down. I always like to hike. We want to do something, kind of put people together or do something where people come, but crows lie. No, crows always tell me the truth. Old timer found a old silver dollar horse bridle around Butcher Jones. Very cool. Lever. I don't know what that means. Very cool. Lever. I don't know. I'm looking for something that connects that lever. Okay. Rick found one and sold it. First person offered him money. Found out that was a mistake. Leave it right where you found it. Yeah, that's right. So are skinwalkers or portals more mythological to you from your experience in the mountains? I've never met it. I've never ran into a portal or a skinwalker that I know of. But then I've been accused of being a skinwalker and a shapeshifter. So that's kind of makes it kind of puzzling, doesn't it? Because if I've been accused of the very thing that I say is mythological, and people believe that, and they wear their devil horns around me, and then that means I could be, and that could be a problem. I don't think I am, though. I don't wear the pelts of things that run around or chase or cast spells on people. I've always felt that reservation and the witchcraft in a lot of cultures is very real to the very people that believe in it and live with it within their culture. I'm not going to dismiss that because fear is a very real thing, and fear can do more to you than anything else. Portals and that type of thing, I've messed around so much things that have been called portals, trying to figure out some way to get something to react, give me some sort of sign or do something, and I've never had that. So I don't even know what to think of it. My thing, and I recently discussed with someone, was what if the whole idea and concept of portals, vortexes we have that we think they are is not even what they are? We've been going about it wrong. We have the wrong concept, the idea of what those things very much are. And because we don't know, we're just basically throwing ideas at something that we have no idea. And I consider that, which sounds really kind of crazy, probably closer to the truth. So when I watch Skinwalker Ranch and they talk about portals, they even say things like, how do we know what something is? We address something with a name, but we have no real physical evidence or proof of that it exists. So we create a mythological concept of what we think it is, and then we picture it. So now everybody thinks, oh, there's a space and you go in here and you go through this. Maybe that's not it. So you're missing all the fun. Any idea if Dr. Glover will be at the Rendezvous this year? I can always ask him. He's getting older. He may or may not. I got to talk to him this week because I was just talking to someone today and we were talking about him, and I needed to give him a call and see how he's doing. That would be awesome to do a group hike. Yeah, I'd like to do something out like Garden Valley or someplace. So you're missing all the fun. Any idea that, okay, I don't know if what we're dressing there, Bowman. But that would be awesome to do the hike. But yeah,
So let's get down here. Mogollon Monster episode had me wondering about those people that just stared.
Yeah, those people have been weird, and we've been trying to track down exactly where I was, and if I can get that location down, we're going to go out and drive it and talk and kind of do something right there, not live, but we'll tape something there and kind of show the spots. And I can't hit the exact spot of where I pulled over, but kind of talk about the whole thing. You know what was creepier than the weird staring people? It was those cows with the peace symbols on them. That was really weird. There's brands on cows. I mean, you like cows, you put peace signs on them, but you branded the peace signs on them. There's something very narcissistic about that, in my opinion.
Okay. Dr. Clover, missing all the fun. Da, 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 da. I've seen snake skin once. It made my metal detector off. I cannot figure out why it would. No idea. Have no clue on that. That is odd. Any updates on Kenny V? What's Kenny V? Who's Kenny V? Trevor? Kenny V? I read just like you. Squid. Well, it's because it's dim in here, and then and this is so bright that you have to kind of move forward and squint to see it. Magnetic field distortions. Thank you, Wade, for all the shows that have you done. I have learned a lot.
No, you're welcome. That's the big thing about doing this stuff, is trying to teach. There's people that'll say, oh, you didn't do this, you don't address this, you don't believe in what I believe in, but that's kind of BS. You want people to learn from themselves and believe what they want to believe in. I always will say, if you believe in something completely different than me in the mountains, means that you're not looking for the same thing for me, and hey, all the more power if you find something that you're looking for. But then again, I could be the guy sitting here with gold, and you might be still talking about it.
The snake probably ate lead.
Could be. I've never metal detected or ever found a metallic snakeskin that I know of. Nope, not that I know of. I have to ask Frank about that. Next time we run, we were out Ward's cabin. I ran into a bunch of snake skins, and it kind of freaked me out because I was running into these almost entire intact snake skins, and they don't last long. So it was bothering me that I kept running into them in spots because I know the same snake isn't. I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. So I started stepping very carefully.
Okay, and so we get the lots of laugh.
But yeah, the whole thing about, and we want to do some stuff on that kind of stuff, and we will address it about what people believe in the mountains and stuff. The problem is the people that believe in the vortexes and the portals, and there's a lot of crazy stuff, they don't want to really get on camera or sit down and talk to you. They'll talk to you, and then they'll just shut up and disappear. Because they'll be like, well, I don't want to do that because people call me a liar. Freaking people call you a liar now that they don't even know. So it's like, come on, join in, be part of this, Come on, share. Let's check out what you got to think. Let's share what you got if you believe in it. And, anybody that knows me, and there's plenty of people that know me, will tell you I will make fun of you for stupid stuff. But, hey, I'm still your friend, and I'm just joking. And yes, it's a music room. Oh, guitar's still on. You turned it off. Yes, it's not a music room. This is a recording studio. So usually you look at the back side of it where the desk is, and there's a real machine, and there's a digital setup, and there's the racks down here, down below me, and all this stuff. And you don't get to see everything. You do get to see the mic here, and the way we set up. And then the back line of the amps and stuff is generally over there with a set of guitars. There's guitars on both sides, and then in cases everywhere. But Trevor's also brought in lighting and moved himself into this little desk behind me for film editing and stuff. He'd like me to move out of here. He actually tried to convince me that I could move all my stuff out. My books and my albums and my recording gear and my guitars. I'm like, what am I supposed to sell all my shit so you could have your own room? No, you live with your brother. You want a nice big room? You know what you do? You get a really good job and you buy a freaking house. And then you come visit, right? Mm-hmm. There we go. And that's the plan someday. There we go. Frank says he should be out now. Frank also thinks I should have kicked him out the day he graduated high school. So Frank loves Trevor. He likes him. Okay, yes, I do play. Was the Dutchman a thief, or do you feel it's real? It's real. He did find gold. Chupacabras are also another part of similar mythology. We did a thing on chupacabras. And I talked about how chupacabras are not real and how they were made up like in the 80s or 90s. And there's a book on it and how it was all created because of the movie Species, and how it's just, they've actually even changed. They came from the Philippines and then they came to Central America, and they've completely evolved, and it's an urban legend. We did a video on it, didn't we? I did the chupacabras. Yeah, look up chupacabras in our videos. I did one on that based on several books and a lot of information. It was really cool. It kind of dispels the chupacabra thing. But, it's funny, a lot of guys I worked with and stuff believe in the chupacabra, the bat-winged dog and all this stuff. When did you first hear about it? Oh, when I was like 25, Grandma tell you to take you away. Oh, your grandma is telling you at 25 it's going to fly away with you. Nice. There was a 1 ounce gold nugget under the snakeskin. You were messing with the snakeskin. You blew it. Yeah, that happens, though. It could happen. But does strong magnetic fields affect a person's concepts of reality? Strong magnetic fields? I work for the electrical company. I work around a lot of stuff like that. It depends on the person. People can become nervous and edgy with magnetic polarity and stuff. It necessarily doesn't always involve or affect people. That's why some people very easily can have the hair raise on their arms and things like that. So that's an individual thing and sensitivity, but it's not sensitivity as in like, well, I'm psychic and you're not. No, it's people's physically can be more sensitive to things, like skin can be sensitive to the sun, things like that. Necessarily, I'm not troubled by a lot of those things. You can sense it, you can feel it. But I also think that there's that fear factor, and you want to ever get into that, we could sit down and dive into that whole concept, because I also believe everyone has the fear of the dark, and the fear of the dark creates everything else, winds everything else up, spools it up, tightens it down, and all that. So we can kind of get into that sometime. Let me catch up, everybody, here. I milk rattlesnakes in my pastime. Venom stuff. Well, that's a hobby. If I ever need a snake milked, I'll give you a call. Just my luck, my growth. Great plan, Wayne. Could you talk about James Swanson's background? Jim Swanson. Oh, I was trying to think of who James Swanson. Jim. He works down at the museum. He was a friend of Tom's. I know Jim vaguely. I don't know Jim anything like I knew Tom. I've met Jim. We've talked. I knew Tom. I didn't know Jim. I know Jim partnered with him in the books. I know the books are the story. Tom's stories written by Tom. Tom did the writing. I don't know exactly how that partnership always worked. He rode with Tom and spent a lot of times, and they worked together and published the books together. So I'm not sure about how that all worked, what the joint part of that was and so forth. But Jim's never, I don't remember Jim ever coming to the Rendezvous. Jim was never out with us in the mountains. So I don't know. I know Jim for running into him at the museum, and we talk a little and all that. The only connection I have outside of we're fans of the Superstition Mountains, and I've never seen him in the mountains. I know he's been in the mountains with Tom, but is our mutual friendships with Tom Collenborn. So that's kind of what I know Jim from. He signed books for me and stuff, and he's a very, very nice man. But that's kind of where I know Jim from. I was blind before, no fear of the dark when you have lived there. I was blind before, no fear. Okay, there's a period goes there. No fear of the dark when you have lived there. I found a lot of gold in the Bradshaw Mountains, but none in the Superstitions. I found plenty of gold in the Superstitions. Frank found a lot of gold in the Superstitions. It's the whole concept of it being extinct volcano, or basically the calderas. So it's very difficult, and a lot of the surface stuff has been found and pulled out, but it's always moving, so you will hit little hot spots and pockets in the mountains. And Frank and Woody pulled out. It grows, but okay, we'll go with the current thing of $15,000 to $20,000 of what they pulled out of that one seam and one wall of a wash, which is pretty good fixings. And I can't remember how many ounces it was, 2 or whatever. They need to get Frank always on the phone to correct these things, but it was 2 or 3 ounces they found in one afternoon. So they did very well. Rick took me to one guy's place. The guy had a dinosaur egg. Probably Ron Feldman. Where's the gold in the Bradshaws? Where's the gold in the Bradshaws? It's all throughout. I would go kind of more in the back side, on the Prescott side, even though it is kind of basically kind of, there is some stuff on the south side to the, I think it's the southeast when you get down towards Black Canyon City. there was some good stuff down in there. But I've not heard of anybody really. I know the Roadrunner Club and a lot of groups have a lot of claims around there, so you have to be careful. But I've not heard of anybody really striking anything. People always find the Lost Dutchman out there, but it never seems to have any gold in it.
Kind of puzzling that, huh? Bubba Kuvara. Okay, I don't know what that meant. But anyways, yeah, and the Bowman saga of yes. So and I think I've discussed this before. I don't find anything paranormal. I believe paranormal is just the word the occult turned into a better marketing plan, because the occult was so harsh. But we needed something happy and with butterflies and kittens, and we'll call it the paranormal, and it works so much better. And we're a happy place. And to me, basically, anything that happens, if there's a rhyme reason, or if it does exist and it actually factually happens, it's just normal, and it's just present of what it is. So basically, crows talking is just normal to me. And if a crow talks, that's normal, because that crow can talk. And if that crow is whatever, okay, so be it. So I'm not totally as fascinated with something like that as I should be, maybe. But I say, okay, that's puzzling, that's very interesting, that's very odd. But if it happens once or twice, then I'm saying, okay, that's a thing. And I usually check into stuff like that. So, but I've not run into, like we said before, I've never run into a chupacabra, I've never run into a portal, or a vortex, or this or that. Never ran into a guy that came through one. None of that kind of stuff. Run into weird, strange, odd things. Don't know what they always mean, but I'm never spooked by them. And Trevor will tell you that, is I'm the first one that goes, what was that? And then I start walking around looking for it. I'm like, oh, there's a Bigfoot throwing big rocks at us. Well, okay, where's he at? So Trevor will tell you that it's just, I got that thing about me. I was like, okay, I want to know what it is. I want to know where it come from, what's going on. Don't really kind of, that whole thing. I just like to see what things are and then try to sort them out. And sometimes in life, there's no rhyme or reason you can't figure something out. I mean, they're still working on stuff with electricity and other things. And so we can't know everything all at once. So that's kind of my thing about it. So people can be affected by just about everything. There are people that have bad days or see something happen and then they have nightmares and PTSD and it's traumatic for them. There's other people that doesn't even faze them. And it's the sensitivity of the person and their emotional state, their mental state and stuff. And so much of that, along with physical state, can mean all the difference to those things. So there you go. Cause and effect. Yes, you're speaking to that. Speaking to that address and figuratively, we can have a long conversation on that. And won't even go there. Trevor will tell you the bookshelves are lined. But everything is not always cause effect, but everything is chaos. And chaos is a thing. And when you solve and understand, and Trevor's going to give me a dirty look here, but when you understand 3, 6, and 9, then you'll be there. So, but there's a lot of odd things that I say you cannot solve, you cannot understand. I love those kind of puzzles because I like to sit around with them and occasionally float my head through them because I know I'll never solve them. I'm not smart enough. I'm not deep enough. I think life in one person here might understand this. I think one person might understand this, but I think life is just full of basically Satori. It's not a matrix. It's not made up. It's not fake. It's just we create the fakeness we live through. And if it makes us happy, if it makes you smile, if it makes you sleep well, if you live a good existence through what you personify or believe life is, if you're happy and you do good in the world, then that's all there is that matters, because it's way too short to worry about the rest of the stuff. That's kind of my philosophy. I am random. There is the story of everyone seeking the Felix light. I saw the Felix lights, and we're not going to get into that because 369 is perfect number. Oh, that's no. Then someone has to come up with it. No, don't get me started, Melinda. No, you cannot get me started on my 369 because we'll be here for another hour of me talking about 369 and my mumble jumble of craziness. Anyways, so yes, I am random. I'm not Thanos, but I'm who was inevitable, but I'm random, and I just proved it. I'm completely random because I'm jumping all over the place. So I am random. That's my middle name. The Phoenix Lights, I saw those down in the Goodyear, at the Goodyear Airport down south of Luke Air Force Base, and watched them for hours and hours the day before they became a big deal, and they were down in the southwest section of Phoenix, and I watched all that stuff, and then they were doing cooler stuff that night. But yeah, so I don't even know what they are. I'm not going to say. I just know I saw the same stuff. Wasn't videoing them or anything, and then the next night I was thinking, oh yeah, cool, and then it became such a big thing, and I'm like, well, I saw that the freaking day before, man. But I don't need to go out there talking about it. Paranormal stuff, ask Salvador. Salvador, it's extraterrestrial. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. But lights, okay, Bud Lights. Bud Lights are they got the Phoenix Lights. You got the Bud Lights. Okay, it's not crazy. Okay, I'm not saying it's crazy. Hello, fellows. But I'm not saying it's crazy. I'm just saying don't get me started on 369. So, Tesla and all kinds of crazy stuff, and Schrodinger's cat, and all the kind of crazy... Trevor will tell you that conversations with me in a truck can be very bizarre, can't they? Because out of nowhere, I just pull out, hey, today, Trevor, we're going to learn to talk about, you know what? String theory. And Trevor's like, what the hell? Where did we end up for the next hour and a half in the truck? But I'm always really drawn to these things of trying to understand them better and apply them and look at them in different concepts and so forth. And I also am a bit of a heoka, so I'm very coyote-ish, so I'm very mischievous. And Trevor will tell you at the same time, just as soon as you got me pinned down and think I'm super that smart, you'll realize I'm stupid and silly, and I'm not taking it very serious at all, am I? No. About as serious as, I don't know. Okay, anyways. Lost my train of thought there. Ever thought about digging a mine? I don't know. I'd have to have a reason to dig it. I mean, I never found a spot. No, never have thought about digging a mine. There's never been anything that gave me a sign or made me believe, let's dig there. Now digging up treasure is a possibility of something else there, yes. Digging open an old mine, yes, but digging an actual fresh lode mine, no, because the insurance and the bonds and stuff associated with that, I have zero interest. So there's that. My Taco Bell cup finally makes an appearance, possibly. Simple is complex in nature. Oh, we're going to do these quotes and stuff? Okay. If you had a package of soup right now, would you be the shaman with ramen? Okay. Trevor Bowman is sitting here doing these little quotes. And he says he's a shaman, so I figure if he has a little package of noodles, he'd be the shaman with ramen, right? Makes sense.
I guess.
Okay. So anyways, it's getting stupid and silly at this point. See, this is what I told you, where you start taking me serious, and then you came up with string theory, big part of their religion. Have you ever checked out the YouTube channel Ghost Town Living? Well, at least you got a sense of humor, bud. But I do like that, man. You should have. I'm gonna make you a shirt. This is the shaman of ramen. I don't know. That's just cool. Do you need a pick to find a place to use one? Do you need a pick to find a place to use one? I don't know what that quite is going, but I do have a pick. So I have a pick. There you go. I don't think that's what he meant, but I did have a pick. Okay, so do you need a pick? Okay, chupacabras are related to my wife's family. That I can believe. Okay, finally some truth coming through. Okay, let's get serious. What kind of pizza tonight, boys? We're making homemade pizza. We have to finish up here because I get to toss the dough and make the pizzas because I'm the only person in the household that used to make pizzas. So I know how to basically spin a pie and make a pie and sauce a pie up properly. So I can't cook. I'm very limited. I can heat up burritos in a microwave. But I can make pizza. Go figure that one. So I will be going into here shortly in a few minutes, knead out some dough and make some pizza. And actually they come out pretty good. So heard hunting was better before the government said, hey, wait a minute. Hunting's always better when the government's not aware of where you're at, what you're doing. Did you ever go out to the Red Mountain in the heyday? Yes, I've been out to Red Mountain. We'll save that for another time. Yes, I did spend time in Red Mountain and out in that area before they really kind of started closing everything down so much more. When is a group hike? I don't know. It has to be cooler. Dulcet Rock. All-purpose or bread flour? I have no freaking clue. I don't make the dough. I always keep adding water to the dough because they make the dough too dry to stretch and work, and everybody anyways, fire pit pizza. Fire pit pizza is good too. I like Peter Piper. I'm a huge fan of Peter Piper. I mean, I don't know what it is. Growing up, it's a local brand that started out, and I was a kid, and that was the first pizzas I really, other than Romano's back in Ohio, in Steubenville, Ohio, an Italian place down from my Aunt Antoinette. They made really good pizza too. We go down there. That stuff was so greasy, man. You had to get it home before the grease came through the bottom of the box. But and this is nothing like that. But yeah, I'm a big Peter Piper guy. But tonight is homemade pizza, which I have to get into and get started because I'm sure Trevor's getting hungry. Peter Piper trashed the dough lately. I don't know. I haven't had it recently, so. Well, the one by me still does really well. So I don't know. I haven't. Did you notice any change in anything? No. Okay. So, anyways, I'm gonna get to kneading my dough and getting my pizza. Use olive oil on your hands. I lick my hands and then I make the pizza. That way, I have all the pizza to me. Trevor. Nobody's gonna eat food I make at the Rendezvous no more. Prospecting San Antonio. Thanks. Have a golden day. Bye. Thank you for catching us. Cactus milk is good for it. Cactus milk, okay? I want to thank everybody for joining us and coming in here. It's been a blast. Thank you for everybody for catching in these and then watching them through the weekends and everything. Thanks, Kim, and all the people coming through. Kim, you're all right in my book still, buddy. Cornbread. So, yeah, thank you everybody for jumping in and taking part in this and stuff. I didn't see George. He didn't comment. I hope he's all right. I don't know. It's just I was kind of hoping he would join in with us and kind of catch up, and maybe he'll catch us. But yeah, I know these comments don't show up in the other comments, so I'm sure he'll be out there soon enough. Still not figuring out which button to push to see all the comments. Thank you guys listening from work. Sorry you got to work while we play, so that kind of sucks. Good to see you. Happy Wade. Have a good one. Nice seeing you. I got a picture. Someday I'm going to have to post the picture of where you're in the picture. I took a picture and you're there showing everybody your map at the Rendezvous. So it'd be kind of cool for you. Doc Tuttle's going to stick it. Is going to stick. Doc Tuttle. That's going to be funny. Yeah, you just don't like that you were cornbread, man. You know, that's what happens, you know. You might stick me with Doc Tuttle, but you're forever cornbread, buddy. So have a good one. Thank you very much. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get in there and start working on the pizza and stuff. But, of course, before I work on that pizza, there's one very important thing. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Check out the shirts in the About section. Remember, we're getting ready to pull up the hats and stuff. Tell us about the cups and hats, what you thought of them, and go back to the beginning of the video if you want to. But most importantly of all, I'm going to have a cigarette before I make pizza. Because the cigarettes, that's my shoe slap. Okay, anyways, and always remember, because not only do I appreciate everybody coming in here and kind of pitching in and everything going on. So it was great seeing everybody. It was great interacting with everybody. We probably will do this again next week, as long as everybody's kind of in this positive space and so forth. It's always a lot of fun. So always remember, yeah, we're finally there. Remember, I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not. And this was Legend of Superstition Mountain Special Edition. We got to come up with a better name for this. But anyways, until next week, everybody take care and have a good night. Cut it. Okay. Was that a good one?